Welcome to Tuesday night. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm Ken Meringolo. He's Kevin Ricca.
Yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with us for one hell of a season. That was incredible. Love doing it with you guys. Ken, love doing it with you. I've just been super happy about, after getting over Sunday, just what an incredible couple months it's been. What a ride, what a run, what a position we're in, man. Thank
God it's Tuesday, a celebration show. Obviously, it's not a victory Tuesday because we did just lose in the NFC Championship game to the Philadelphia Eagles. But the spirits are high. I mean, we never said happy to be here. We never said just happy to be nominated. And that's certainly not how we felt. So, you know, I'm not trying to, I mean, losing the NFC Championship sucks. It helped that it was an absolute blowout a little bit, I think, in the sense that it was a no-doubter. There's no pain. We didn't drop a pass in the end zone like Mark Andrews at the end.
There was pain. There was the most untimely turnover pain that we've suffered all year long. That was painful.
At halftime,
as soon as we were clawing our way back in, the untimely turnover kick right to the cup was horrible. That was all.
Greg
and I know
Martin
what you're saying.
Asking the right questions. I was just thinking this when I was playing the song. So will there be a new Dislocated Boner theme song for next season? I'll know the answer to that. I do think, I mean, it's great theme music, and it was perfect for this season. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what
A+.
We'll have to be in talks with some people's people. We'll see. Where is it at? I thought at halftime, I thought it couldn't have gone any worse, and we were only down 2 scores.
27-12, or was that what it was? Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, it couldn't have gone any worse, and we were still technically in the game. Had to give them the ball first in the second half, but I mean, 50 burger. You know, the first. I mean, that's just
double nickel was painful.
The first touch of the game, the first offensive play. You know, we have a 1,000-play
mother fudge
4-hour drive. Just everyone's like, "Oh, this could be something," and we get 3 points, and then 18 seconds later,
that bastard. I blame the Giants. I blame poor management. I
definitely blame the Giants.
Nah, I blame the better team won. That's fine.
Better team won.
The better team won. We know it. I think we all know we're not a Super Bowl team, even though it would have been fun as shit to go through the pomp and circumstance of 2 weeks versus what. But you know what? That was pretty cool. And you put the ball, you're -4. We were bragging about +5 a week ago. It was the coolest thing all week.
Yeah.
You want to go -4? Well, you're going to go home.
And give up all the points on that -4. I mean, it was for the maximum amount of points. Greg, I think the reason why I did feel halfway decent, because I think Greg remembered, we had 39 seconds left. I think it was 27-12. And then I think in 39 seconds, Jaden Daniels really put together something pretty cool with no timeouts to get a field goal at the end of the half.
Yeah, 27. That made it 27-15.
I think they made it 27-15. And you're kind of like,
was awesome.
How do I feel about this? Because it was the very first appearance of Jaden Daniels in the first quarter and the very last appearance of Jaden Daniels in the second quarter bookended this hope that we were, we'd have a chance.
Then we went score. We went stop.
Yep.
Score. Stop. And we're marching down. And we put it on the ground again.
Put it on the ground. Can't do it.
Yep.
So tonight, we'll talk about a little bit more about that game. We'll talk about the season. We're gonna do a week. We're gonna do a weekly. We're gonna be the GM. All right. So Kevin, I'm springing this on Kevin, and I think we're gonna make decisions based on whatever we say. We know that's what we know for the case. We're not going to.
I usually drink more when I make decisions.
Yes, we're going to make decisions.
It's a little early in the show,
and we're going to build on it every single week. So tonight we're going to we'll look at the entire free agent class, and we're going to bucket them up with the understanding. I mean, there's a lot of them, and the notion that they all are coming back obviously is foolish. But which ones and why? And we're not going to do like a deep dive into this. We're going to do like kind of like a gut feel in these buckets, but we're going to use those buckets going forward. So in some way, the buckets will be pretty important. They're pretty important buckets.
Important buckets. I didn't know there would be important buckets here tonight.
A guy who is a free agent who I think will be a consensus opinion on whether he should be brought back or not. Tress Way, the fake punt. I loved it. I loved it, obviously, and everything seemed to work for us on fourth down. But the coolest part about that play is the way they waited until the last. Like, they got lined up fast, and they stayed on the ball for like 25 seconds. And they really all kind of like, it was like a snake charmer putting a cobra to sleep. It was just
God. Holy
well,
shit.
yeah.
There's some shit. Were you eating peyote for the playoff game, bro?
I mean, Aaron Rodgers was hanging. We had a little Aaron Rodgers Hasku. They just stood there, and I was even watching it. I was like, all right, it's coming. Like, all right, fine. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, Tress Way is gonna throw this ball. I mean, it was perfect. It was executed successfully. Ben Sinnott got a big play.
Tremendous,
but it was perfect.
But a guy with tremendous hang time on his punts, that ball seemed to be floating up there. I'm sorry, all of us.
It was a little Heineke-ish. There was a little Taylor Heineke
I was
to
like,
it.
Get down.
That's why, like,
stop being up there.
Keep in mind.
Holy shit, what a cool play that was, man.
Last year, that was a starting quarterback throw for us. Or 2 years ago,
that's
I should
fine.
say.
At least we knew to anticipate it. This caught us by surprise. In fact, I was walking out of the kitchen to go and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like that was just, what a cool thing. A 35-year-old to a 21-year-old for the good guys on a fake punt. I think that was Sinnott's 6th catch of the year. It wasn't like, and I like what Greg Martin just said. He's still more passes than Dak. Tress Way has more combined passing yards in NFC Championship games than Dak Prescott and Tony Romo combined. It's tremendous. Attaboy, Tress Way. I always knew it. I've always liked you better than both those other guys.
Peace and love to Ken Harris, J Dubs. Good evening, sir. Greg Martin, NES, Tecmo, EO, all you guys, AGH. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight.
Hell yeah.
Oops, what do we got here? Oh, we'll go ahead and take care of that. It was 27:15.5. I guess I just figured out I could drag something onto the screen. Check that out. Very true.
You've been dragging Team Mom all across everyone's face for the entirety of this amazing season.
It's true.
Is Team Mom going to be back next season?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's.
Can we get her in something?
She's like in a Team Mom emeritus.
A different Team Mom outfit.
Oh yeah. Oh, trust me when I tell you that you might be wanting the old one back though. She went super skimpy this year. Big number 82, 82nd birthday. She went string style. So let you know it's coming.
All right. Way to go, Team Mom. This is a big season for all of us.
I wrote down this number because I still can't believe it. And not that I can't believe it. Obviously I can believe it, but it's still weird. And I still haven't gotten over it. 14 wins for this franchise this season. Obviously 2 playoff wins, 12 win regular season. I know in the age of 17 games, maybe 12 doesn't have the exact same meaning. I mean, our whole lives, we lived in the 16 game season until recently. We grew up. I mean, 12 wins. 12 wins was those are your best teams in the league. I mean, there was maybe a 15-1 team here and there, a 14-2 team every once in a while, but 12, 13 win teams. Those were dominant teams in the NFL over the years. And 12-5 is just outrageous from where we were last year. So I still can't get over that. How could you? That's a crazy differential year over year in wins, not to mention 2 playoff wins, not to mention you got your guy and you know it, not to mention the guys who are picking players seem to understand what they're doing. I mean, every single possible thing that we changed or that was changed for us from the owner all the way to the field.
Yep.
Just about every single thing worked. Now, that's not to say that, we can't expect things to go well next season, but I think this is the foundation and things are going to go like this. Maybe you don't get the Hail Mary win every season. But everything about how we got, there's nothing like phony or fleeting or, fake about our ascent to being a good team.
No, and you nailed it. And the likelihood of the 33 years everyone's talking about since our last important game.
Yep.
It's also been 33 years since we have entered into an offseason, locked, stocked, loaded, ready to rock and roll for that next season at those 4 spots. It was 1992. We had Jack Kent Cook, Charlie Casserly, Joe Gibbs, and Mark Rippon coming back off a Super Bowl season. That's 33 years ago. They were coming off such an incredible year with those guys to depend on. That was the last time we could feel good about things, actually ever in our franchise history of recent 33 years. Because that next year, Richie Pettibone came in. And that's when things started to, I don't want to say crumble. That's when things went from incredible to just slightly above average.
Yeah.
And then there was about an 8 to 9 year span that we dealt with some of that stuff.
Yep.
Anyways, That was the last time that we sat around thinking, wow, we are in great hands and this is going to be a really neat offseason. But this is way more important. All those guys, those things were set in place for another year, maybe two back then. That was
plus you could stash a dozen guys on IR.
Totally different way of going about how to build a franchise, but the rules were different. Anyways, the excitement is the same. Everyone's talking about what we can do. 25 of our most influential players were signed by our front office last year at sub 50 million. Our 25 most influential signings last year came in at sub 70 million. We don't need 30 guys this year, 25 to 30.
Nope.
With another 7 in the draft and the way we've broken it down, that number will shrink this year demonstratively, I think, especially with the re-signing of some of the guys we brought back in this year. It's going to be just, everyone here knows it. It's going to be bonkers. We're going to get into it tonight. It's going to be bonkers. What did I say? Demonstrative?
I like demonstrative.
But then why do you repeat it?
Because I like it. I think it's
chuckled and said demonstrative.
Demonstratively.
Damn.
I don't know.
I said demonstratively.
Yeah.
I do make words up on occasion.
Of course, I do too. I'm trying to preserve. I think the word now should be a word. I think if you say it and it makes sense, that's like the purpose of a word.
Like I'm having a conversation with you. I know you understand that, but now I didn't know that we were just chuckling at bad grammar these days. But whatever. Where's T?
I just love.
Hashtag T's bad at grammar. Shout out T.
T would be demonstrably upset.
Yeah, he would have called me out for that one too. He would have demonstrated a lack of patience there with me.
That's how I mean. My dad made up words on the fly, lots of hand gestures, and and he was going to make you sit there and listen until he got to some of those words. He didn't even know where he was going sometimes.
Well, sometimes I don't either. Sometimes we all don't. But I know this. I do agree with Greg a little bit. I didn't care about that field goal on fourth, and I think it was.
Oh yes,
4.
a lot of people were like, "Hey,
I didn't care about it." That's the first time we were like, we changed.
It was. You could call it out of character, except for an 18-play, 10-minute drive or whatever it was, 8-minute drive.
I get it.
You want those points.
I understand, but
and they were the first points.
When you know damn
board.
Well your defense is up against the best weapons of the season, arguably. Damn it!
I know.
Damn it!
That's why if they
make them go 80s, make them stretch. But just whatever.
If we were down 7-0,
I'm not saying I hated it. I was confused because in our room, I'm like, nope, this is what we do. Then and it happened multiple times on that drive, and I was tickled. Then all of a sudden, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
and
it was
then
4th and 3
quick,
from the 16.
Yeah, man, and that's what we do.
I think again, we had the ball first. It was 0-0. I think that was as much a part of the decision as anything. If we were down 7-0 after their first drive, I would bet we go for that
I know,
play.
but we should have listen. If they got to go 87 and then 7-0, then fine. It was almost worse to kick the field goal and watch Saquon just decimate us. We got caved in on that side of the field and then had 2 guys make bad plays. And if you get caved in and 2 guys miss a tackle, Saquon scores a touchdown.
That's right.
I don't care if it's the playoffs.
They
I don't
caved
care who
it
the
all
hell
the way.
you
I
are.
mean, we had guys with
Oh,
arms.
that was not a good start. I don't
arms
know.
and everything.
We got rocked on that. And whatever. I'm not mad. I wasn't mad about it. I was confused. And I was saying, nope, this is what we do. And I was like, all right, I guess playoff. Like, I don't want to feel like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel like that. So whatever. That's not why we lost. There's a million. Listen,
we went against the number 1 defense and probably the best offensive line in the league. Those 2 things happened to us.
I know,
in
but they're one
game.
offensive line. Both their offensive linemen had like one good leg between the 2 of them. So I thought that maybe we could have dominated up front a little bit.
I'm continually frustrated and perplexed and confused. And I don't even know how to. Like, I don't understand how we're this bad against the run. Because you look at us and you think, like, we can't. It's crazy. It's crazy. Didn't you say it? Like, 1,000. Well, the 10 rushing touchdowns in the last 2 weeks.
10 rushing touchdowns in 2 weeks. We've given up 980 yards. Both teams in the playoffs rushed for a combined 10 touchdowns. 7 this week, 3 last.
That's a lot.
Both teams went over 200 yards against us. I know that we know these numbers. That means that Adam Peters and the boys know these numbers, and I know that we're going to do something to fix these numbers. And I do understand that maybe we don't have the exact personnel in there, but I kind of like our front 7, and I do think we need one more.
Like our front 7
one
too.
more werewolf, and maybe I just don't know how Allen and Payne. You haven't heard much about them this year. The last we heard about them was in the offseason, and they were happy to have Allen back, and we needed him last week with Payne out.
We needed him out. I also think we needed him to come back and play healthy so that on the chance that he is a potential trade piece, that he played healthily in the playoffs. He's worth something, and he's valuable. Again, I don't know anything. I'm not in the locker room. Word
Right.
on the street is he's not the most beloved dude in the building, but he's certainly undervalued in terms of. I mean, he's giving you more back than you're paying for him at this point in time because the defensive tackle market.
Oh yeah,
just
17 million at the end of this deal is nothing, especially because we cut him with no worries, nothing. We owe nothing.
And somebody will take him
clear.
for $17 million for a 1 year deal
Sure.
and give up something decent for it if that's what happens. We're not projecting necessarily that at this point in time, but it's crazy. It's outrageous. Like that's like the one thing as a football fan. Like, just don't be like the worst team against the run. You know what I mean? Like, you can be bad. I hate being bad against the run. I hate being
it's
but
hard.
It's like the whole game of football is about tackling the other guy.
It's
and like,
hard.
if you're the worst against the run, like you can't say you're good tacklers. You can't say you're stout at the line. Even though we think we have good enough players to be those things. We have the horses on the defensive line. We have Chin and Luvu and Wagner, great tacklers. Saying Ristel's a great tackler. Chin, but we're the worst against the run.
We need a bad son of a bitch lined up opposite Dorrance Armstrong and another bad son of a bitch that's Fowler can spell. And I want to re-sign Fowler badly.
Okay.
But he cannot be the guy permanent. That wasn't supposed to be his role. And he kind of got cast into it because he was playing so well and he's played his ass off. But I think with a guy coming off the edge and a badass defensive end opposite Dorrance Armstrong, 2 spots there, that certainly helps us.
Yep.
Across the board, which has to help against the run. Re-signing Bobby Wagner certainly will help that as well. But having Frankie coming back and all that, and you know what? Damn it. Not Jahmyr Gibbs and Saquon Barkley are 2 of the baddest ass athletes on planet Earth.
That's right.
I'm not making any excuses. That's not an excuse. They're going to get theirs. But 10 rushing touchdowns in the playoffs. I loved our playoffs this year. Don't get me wrong. But if you want to take a look at something glaring heading into this offseason, I know Philadelphia's got more talent than us on that offensive line. I don't care. 7 rushing touchdowns was hard, even with the 4 turnovers. But 10 in 2 weeks, that's not getting it done. 980 yards of total offense on both teams. Detroit and Philly rushing for over 200 yards. That obviously is something we need to fix.
I don't know.
That's what we
it has
fix.
to be, and I think it's going to have to be fixed during the week and on the roster. I mean, obviously, we're going to have to add somebody to make us better. And they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. You just can't say. I mean, it's obviously scheme related. It's many things related, but if you're the worst, it's scheme related. It's like it's not you, it's me.
Yeah, we're the worst at that and pass interfering. And real quick, we're just going to talk about Lattimore. I love the guy's athleticism. If you see him move, you see his twitch, you see how he rotates his hips, you see how tough he is, you see how he competes. We love him. The best thing I heard all week, because I'm sick of him just playing grab ass all over the place like St. Juiced. You can't just molest everyone. It's not the WWF. You can't do it. You got to learn some different technique. And I love Adam Peters coming out today and saying, we cannot wait to have an offseason with him.
Yeah.
And that makes some goddamn sense to me.
Yeah.
Because I know he came over here and he's come from places where he's had to compete that way. I'm done with the penalties. I love the way he plays. And I think he's going to be a spectacular guy for us. But let's get that offseason corrected. Let's get him out there so he's not just grabbing the shit out of everyone at all times because everyone knows what the hell he's doing and he gets called for everything. I love how he competes. He's going to be a great player for us.
And he's an upgrade. He's just flat out our best corner. Him and St. Rizzo are our best corners.
And he needs another.
Hands down.
We need another out there, but we'll get into all that. An offseason with us, an offseason with Joe Witt. Hey, this is what we do. We're not necessarily just going to pat everyone down that gets into our area. We're going to
he played at a high level for many plays for us. When he was on the field for however many games on the field,
But the days we talked about it last week, the days of shutting somebody down, he frustrated me with his stupid penalties and then the shit at the end. Like he just has to be in that mix, and I understand a part of it, but like don't hurt the team, bro. Not in the playoffs. So getting him into what we do here and what this whole new regime's all about is going to be very impactful and important, I believe, heading into next season.
It was so that's the thing with Lattimore that's been the case since he came. And I love attitude, I love edge, and we can't have the penalties. I mean, all that stuff. But the cool thing about it is
fine line.
We were looking for the fine line all day on Sunday. Frankie Louvouz leaps over the line of scrimmage in the tush push. and like the referee saying, like, if you do it again, I'm just gonna give him a touchdown. And we know this rule's been on the books.
What the fuck?
As it was
I'm
pointed out,
sorry,
in the thing,
but
1942, never been called. They've never ever called a touchdown for nothing.
I've lived, eaten, sleep, breathed this sport at every level passionately my whole entire, and never in my fat-headed life have I ever heard this rule or this explanation. I think Steratore gave it to us before it came down from the field.
That's right. He did. He said they can award a score.
And I was like, what the fuck did he just say? And then I kind of got the feeling that the ref was about to say, like, all right, if the crazy flying wild Samoan comes off the top rope one more time. But I'm thinking, let Frankie Luvu do that, leading with the head one time. Let's end that play, NFL. That will end that shit.
Again, it's a legal play. They run it great. They have a great offensive. They have the best offensive line in the league, and they have a big, meaty quarterback who can run for. And then they have two guys pushing him.
So meaty,
just pushing that meat right on up the field.
No.
They are good at it for a reason. They've literally built a team around that concept. In addition to other things, they're big and strong, and it works for them. However, this offseason, there's going to be some rules changes. They're going to look at the quarterback slide. We've talked about the quarterback slide on this, how I feel about it. We all know how that's going to be a point of emphasis.
It's electric to you, bro.
In the offseason, they're going to talk about the slide. The slide is a terrible, terrible idea for the quarterback, like 75% of the time. In the open field,
I think they should just get a little white flag and be like,
a little white flag. Like, listen, Jaden, like, there's quarterbacks who do the right thing. Jaden Daniels has, in 1 year, has developed a reputation with the defenders in the NFL. He's going to take what he can, and then he's going to shimmy out sideways, at least a yard or two in front of the defender who's standing there, knowing he's not going to also take a posterization hit, from the quarterback. Because you have guys who'll, lay their shoulder down for that extra 2 or 3 yards, and all that does is guarantee that quarterback's going to get murdered at some point, in the future. So Jaden Daniels, his reputation is pure. Like he's not going to get cheap shots on the sidelines at this point in his life, and he's also smartly sliding in the open field and going headfirst into traffic. I think that's the right thing. But they will review that, and this is going to cause the NFL to review the tush push play, because if you don't time the snap, first of all, there's like 8 people off sides on this play every single time. So it's like
they line up off sides.
They do.
We line
Everyone
up off
does.
sides.
Everyone does. And the fact that they have the gall to call that flag is so stupid. And then it's all helmet to helmet, every single part of it. And
every head is lowered. It's all lowered. It's everything we're trying not to do. It's
all the things, yes. And then you have big, huge, strong guy, 300-pounders from behind pushing everyone. And it's all bad. If you're serious about the things you've been saying, NFL, for all these years.
Right.
So how do you stop it? You got to get someone over the top, time the snap perfectly.
Yeah.
That's it.
What would Sean Taylor do?
Yes.
Well, someone's getting hurt. Someone is getting carted off the field, and they're going to have to end that play. And I thought part of it, like, what? All right, what are our options here? It's the playoffs. It's do or die.
Yep.
So we line up off sides because they do. We all get down in this little stance. Obviously, forward momentum, they have a head start. We have to actually play defense as linebackers. Our linebackers can't just take a running start.
No.
And there's no room, and the leverage is all offensively graded. There's no way around it, so over top.
Yep.
And he didn't lead with the helmet because he's kind of a gentleman. But when he came flying over, he made sure not to let. But I wanted to see something, I'm sorry, egregious. So then the NFL has to be like, how are you going to defend that shitbag play by saying, you can't do something shitty to that shitbag play. We'll only deal with one shitbag play, not 2.
That's right. And when everybody has their head like this, over the line, crisscross with each other, you can do what the Eagles did, which I believe they will be responsible for killing their own play, because they stood there at the line. And if you're the NFL, you're like, I get like Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, their famous hard count and quarterbacks drawing people off sides. But it's not fair. If you have 5 300-pounders on either side of a line with their heads this far away from each other, and they can't even see the ball. Like, if you watch, you can't see the ball in that play. Your head's too freaking low, and you're looking down. So hard count and just wait everyone out, and because the defense has to make the perfect timing. It's an unfair advantage, and I don't think it's in the spirit.
Shitty play.
Yep.
It's shitty. It's all shitty. Figure it out, NFL. It's terrible.
It's you know what? It's it's legal. They run it well.
We did fine against it,
and we've done
better
fine
than
against
most.
it.
I mean, but of course,
because I think Jalen
they're going to win that
down.
more than they lose.
That's right.
They're
I
going
mean,
win
Jordan
that more
Mailata,
than
the
they
left
lose.
tackle, he said he came out of the tunnel like a month ago, and Pete Davidson, the comedian from SNL, was hanging out there, and Jordan Mailata dapped him up, and he just said, he's like, I'm so sick and tired of the
They all
tush
hate
push."
it.
And,
I hate it. Everyone hates it.
Everyone hates it. It's just like
everyone hates
terrible.
it. Everyone hates Philadelphia. Let's just take it. Like
anything. If it was made by it's not like the annexation of Puerto Rico from like Little Giants. It's not like something
and
great.
It's not even an expansion. It's not like the Texans are doing it. Like,
Um,
go ahead, Jacksonville. Get your tush push on.
Yes.
No one gives a shit.
Build a roster around that. So we
By
are.
the way, did you see the coach say Duval?
Cohen.
Yeah, Liam Cohen. Duval.
It was. I think I got it sent to me like a billion
it made
times
me
today.
so happy. Remember when we used to deal with shit like that?
Yes.
That was like our shit.
Yes.
Like, we were like didn't have a GM. We just had some Duval coach come in. Oh, it's the red and yellow are going to be great next year. Shut up, Jesus! Just shut up.
Black and gold. So speaking of coaching, we can interject with breaking news, even though it happened before the show.
Golf clap.
Cliff Kingsbury has decided not to pursue the Saints job, which comes as no surprise to us and all of you guys who are watching. Obviously, he was never going anywhere after one season. We so soon forget that the whole reason he came here to begin with, without us having Jaden Daniels, was because we gave him a longer contract than anyone else was willing to give him. He wanted more years. He wasn't looking to be a head coach again right away. And in addition to keeping Cliff Kingsbury, most of our staff is completely intact.
That's so badass.
And our assistant general manager stuck around.
I know.
The Jets almost made a great decision.
I know. What the heck?
They decided not to
Good
do
for
it.
us. No,
Great for us.
This is great for us. We haven't just completely overcome everything. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And sophomore slumps are a real thing.
They're a real thing.
But when you keep everyone intact, and Cliff was the biggest part of this. I really love what he did. I'm not saying he was perfect. He does some shit like that 2-point conversion where he took the ball out of number 5's hands. I wanted to shit. Yeah. Then I wanted to punch something. Then I wanted to punch the shit out of something.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it transpired. But most of the time, that guy's spot on. But overall, what he's done has been absolutely A+. He's been freaking tremendous. Having him around for another season, this entire offseason, with whatever they decide to do and the weapons they decide to add, and let him to increase that playbook. Heading into last season, they were having scratched the surface. They were at percentage-wise, not even 10 of what they got to.
Yeah.
Now that the world is their oyster.
They're using 80% of their brain now.
And they know that quarterback's brain is humongous. Yeah. And we can tap into that intelligence and use it for the greater good of the Burgundy and Gold.
38-ish?
Yeah.
Something like that.
And I believe this will be his final season.
I don't.
He might come back for that third. I know he wanted that third year. But if something pops up for him, he right now and what he's going to do next year, I think he rises to the top.
I think that opportunity will exist for him as long as he.
Of course, it will.
Because so Adam Peters is like, if you're smart, like if you're Cliff Kingsbury and you're smart, and I think that we all agree that he is, and his agent, they're all smart. They're like, hey, here's the deal. Like, you're gonna even if you wait until you're 40 years old, you'll still be one of the younger coaches in the league. As long as you stay with the Washington Commanders, you will work for a general manager who will give you the best possible players that he can find, and they'll allocate their resources around a potentially generationally great quarterback. I think if you're an offensive coordinator, I don't think you dip out after 2 years. If we have another good year, like think about if the
right job opens up, he will take it. That's all the part. That's it. That's all.
But that means like somebody has to retire from a good job, because I don't think he's taking like a 2-14 or 2-15 team just because it's open.
Well, of course, and that's why the New Orleans Saints were never an option for him. Salary cap hell with a quarterback with a shitty contract. Yeah. He does not need to walk into that scenario.
No,
that's the moral of the story. He's not just looking for a head coaching job. He's happy as shit. And he's only going to increase value with this offense and the weapons we're about to add.
All right, so let's do this.
I love having him here with the weaponry that's about to be transported into the district.
Let's do this.
Go to the DC Armory?
Week
Is that
one.
what we should do?
Week one of
I
our.
think that's what Peters is about to do.
He's gonna go to the DC Armory. I like it.
Why not?
Why not?
They usually have the circus there, but I still want him to go.
We're going. So we're gonna start bucketing. It's time to bucket. We're halfway through the show here. 1 second while we see. Like this is our. We'll be right back. We'll be right back, and now we're back. All right.
That's so fun.
All right. So we have 3 categories of that we're gonna say for our free agents. All right. And now so what we're going to do tonight is we're just going to bucket these guys with the understanding that we have to make at least one tough decision and say, and as a group, which means you and me and the board, like there's at least going to be one guy that we're going to say, hey, listen, we're going to call it quits here. And then a couple guys who obviously, and then as we move through the weeks, we'll attach some market valuations to these guys. We'll have to make more decisions. We're going to have to clip people from our interested list for sure as we move forward because some of these guys have made themselves some money that we won't be the ones who pay them. And then, of course, we'll full draft, targets and possibilities in the mix as well.
Yes, these are our own free agents, correct?
Yes, we are our own free agents.
Guys
no one
that are
else
here
is.
this year that contractually are not obligated to be here next year unless we decide specifically here right at First Amendment Sports tonight between you and I and the board. I would like to see everyone's participation out there.
This is 24
player
players.
by player. So type in the player.
24 players. We're going to get started. Easy one. We're going to start.
Or TY.
Highest priority. Yeah, that's right. So we're going to, the highest priority to re-sign players we're obviously interested in bringing back. And then, guys, we just have to say, hey, look, thank you for your service because, we can't want everybody. We can't have everyone. We can't want everyone. Easy ones first. There you go. Bobby Wags, B-Wag.
HP of the highest of priorities. This defense never gets to where it gets without him, not just physically, mostly mentally early on, and then he physically showed exactly who the shit he is. 13th straight year with 100 tackles. Badass MFer. He's the highest priority. One of the highest priorities. I believe.
Greg's interested, but that's okay. We're on the same page. As far as tonight's concerned, these categories, highest priority and interested, are probably going to be. It's like when you're moving out. And there's the old shows where you were moving out, and they'd say, "Okay, put all the things you want to keep on this blanket, and all the things you want to throw in." Then they would keep making you winnow down. Here's another easy one, I think. Jeremy Chin. We need another N on that, don't we?
Yes, we do need another N.
What happened?
And he was absolutely incredible this year. And I know they switched defenses in Carolina. He got forced out, had a couple injuries before that. Didn't get the chance to prove it in his 4th or 5th year down there. He certainly fits the shit out of this scheme, doesn't he?
Oh, he does.
And I love him, and I'm a HP guy with
I'm
Jeremy
an HP guy,
Chin.
too, with Jeremy Chin, as am I. Okay. Let's see. We'll throw Zach Ertz. By the way, that's a funny autocorrect. It's because I don't know why they can't just appreciate the fact that his name is Ertz and he's not a rental car baron. He'll be 1,000,000 years old. We have Sinnott, I believe, is our only tight end under contract this offseason. I think I'm interested in Zach Ertz. I think he's the kind of player that's a highest priority to re-sign if he wants to stick around and play. But
he just had double-digit receptions for over 100 yards
in the NFC Championship game.
NFC Championship game. I know he's not the highest priority because I don't believe people are going to offer him a shit ton of money. In fact, he just paid for $2 million. Played for $2 million this year. Like he was not like a.
If he wants to play, he's going to play where he wants to play.
And I believe it should be here.
He wants to play with Cliff, and he wants to play with Jaden Daniels.
Of course he does, and I understand that.
He said it the other day. Remember, he said, "I wish I was 22.
Starting
I wish I had my career with this guy."
This is the guy who won a Super Bowl with
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles,
right?
Foles. Yes, I said Foles because we'll get to him.
Let's keep Zach Ertz on the highest priority for the moment. Tight end is kind of an important position in case people aren't aware. Here's another one. All right, so Dante Fowler Jr., you said it already. I don't disagree. If you're going to place a priority on a defensive player, he's probably the highest priority guy based on his production. We're not talking about how much money he may or may not cost us tonight.
All right, because it didn't. None of these guys cost us shit last year. None of these guys.
That's right. That's right.
None of them. And Bobby Wagner cost us $6 million. He's the highest paid guy on the board right now. And everyone else is sub 4. Ertz is at 2.
And Chin can probably cash a little bit of a bigger check because of where he is in his career. Bobby Wagner, he's playing. He's like he's got tenure in the league, right? He can do whatever he wants. And he's not looking. He also understands at this point in his career, he's going to get a starting spot. He doesn't have to waste a lot of salary cap space.
I think our value in Dante Fowler as a pass rusher for what we paid him this past year, not next year, is one of the greatest values in the NFL football season this year. His ability to rush the passer, which is what we need.
Oh, yeah.
Desperately, what our defense is built around. And I'm not saying he needs to be the priority guy like he was for us at the end of the season. I think a well-rested Dante Fowler coming in a change-up scenario and pass rush downs is a big, big freaking deal, especially when we get him.
Yeah.
Well, we won't talk money. Fine. But we got plenty of it for a guy with that skill set. That's what I believe.
For the moment, he has to be in the highest priority bucket. That just, again, keep in mind, we're not saying like these are the guys we're going to get. These are the guys that are going to, and I'm just saying, I think we're all kind of getting on the same page of what these buckets mean.
Every one of those guys would like to be here, I believe.
I think so, and then we would want to have him. How about this guy? Where are we at? There's one more. Clelin Ferrell on the outside. I think now we don't have to make decisions like I'd rather have Fowler than Ferrell. Obviously, we'd rather have Fowler than Ferrell.
No, this is about the player.
Yeah, this is about the player. You could say that you're interested. But we also tonight is about you can't have everyone, and you have to understand in some cases, you're hoping to like if Clelin Ferrell comes back next year. Does that mean you weren't able to draft someone or sign someone better to play in that spot on your roster?
Listen, he just didn't jump out ever. I never remember being like, yeah, Clelin Ferrell. Like, man, and that's a position we desperately need young talent, and we need to get that young talent seasoned. I'm gonna thank you for your service. It was a 1-year deal. Thank you. Thank you for your service.
He sticks around in the league. There we go. Clelin Ferrell is, I believe his name is.
And remember, we got some money, but we got a lot of guys that played for us this year that we got to re-sign, and not all that's going to be at that same price.
This is, by the way, we're going to put 24 names on the screen, and that does not even include every single free agent on the roster. I believe there's closer to 28 or 9 or something like that, whatever it is. I left a couple guys on the cutting room floor for this, so 24 names. We're starting out our offseason with Noah Igbinoghene, and he is. I think I'm interested in.
I'll drop an I for Igbinoghene.
I think
I am. I like him as a backup.
Yes, I like his. I think he tackles, which is important to me as a fan of tackling. And listen, we got to build this cornerback room. It's really strong right now at the top. Because I think if you look at, for example, another free agent whose name shall not remain nameless, it's this guy. I think Benjamin St-Juste, I think I did kind of see. First of all, Igbinoghene was on the field a lot more for us. He was a physical dude. He played inside. He played the slot.
He can play the slot.
Yeah, and
he understands the slot.
I think for everyone, I think Benjamin St-Juste stays in the league, but at this point in time, I'm going to thank you for your service to Benjamin St-Juste. I'm ready to commit cornerback resources elsewhere.
I agree, and I agree that we need multiple cornerback resources elsewhere. I also want to keep Igbinoghene around. I like the way he fits the scheme. I appreciate how he goes about his business. I like the way he tackles an open field. I really think he's
that's so huge.
Very underrated at that, and he's not going to come knock the piss out of you, but he's going to make a play in open field that stops the other team from getting the first down.
Except for Saquon Barkley in the NFC Championship.
Well,
game.
Listen,
I know
that's a different guy to tackle, sir.
Here's your boy. Here's another guy. Not your boy. Here's another guy for us to talk about. Jeremy McNichols. Okay, so As far as McNichols is concerned, I think we can just be interested in him. I don't think we need to kick him out the door. He's, we can all agree it's not going to cost us a lot of money either way. I don't think he's a. I mean, he could stick around for the veteran minimum, and I like the way that they trusted him for certain things this year. I didn't like the fumble, obviously, this on Sunday, but our running back room is going to look different next year, and there's going to be that's just a fact. But
I agree with you, and I don't think McNichols is going to be there.
I don't think so either. But I'm not ready to kick him out of bed just quite yet.
I like the guy, and this is not because of the fumble.
Yeah.
But this is a thank you for your service because
I'm gonna give you this one.
going to get a guy.
I'm with you. I think
we are going to have a guy here that's going to fill his role. I think a bit differently.
I like that. I like that they found a guy like Jeremy McNichols. This past off season.
I loved him all year. By the way,
and I think they can do it again.
That fumble sucked. It was a high school play, standing straight up, holding the ball like a whatever. That's not why. I think he's a cool as shit guy that sticks in the league and finds his way somewhere.
Yep.
But I just think we need somebody a little more explosion as far as this offense goes in the passing game.
How about this guy explosive in the passing game? Not a spring chicken. But I think in the age of, let's just say, let's repeat what we said the wide receiver room is going to look different next year. It just is. But there was some old balls in our wide receiver room already, and we'll talk about Jamison Crowder's coming up next. So
that's older balls than the Llama Day.
I know. I'm a highest priority category for Llama Day at the moment.
Oof. All right, so I'm interested, obviously, and do not want to thank him for his service, but I'm interested because I'm also interested to see what we do in the wide receiver room, obviously. But I'm interested because the way he produced, and he had a game or two that I think he was the difference in why we got a victory. Guys that are the difference in a victory because of their performance that day, I'm always interested in, especially since we had fucking 4 last year. Yeah. So I think a guy that comes out and has 8 catches for over 100-some yards and a touchdown or two, does his job at the level that I want to have around, because that would have been 25% of the wins we had last year had we had him. I like shit like that. I like Olamide. I know he's.
We're going to keep him on the interest of this.
He's not going to cost us much, and I'm interested in that.
The board is, Greg and I have him as highest priority. EO has him as interested. J-Dubs has him as interested. And at this point in time, I'm willing to make that trade off because he stays alive in our possible plans, which I love.
Yeah.
So in that respect, Jamison Crowder, I'm going to say thank you for your service again for 2 reasons. One, I hope our wide receiver room looks so good next year in the summer that we don't have to go to an aging guy like Jamison Crowder. And 2, if we need Jamison Crowder, he's probably going to be available at some point in time. Guys like him, they're professional football players, and veteran coaches love guys like Jamison Crowder in November and December because they know they can call their number on 3rd down. They can ask him to go out and fair catch punts and those kinds of things. So I'm going to thank him for his service for me, just because. No offense to Jamison Crowder, but Jamison Crowders are available to you, I think, without having to really prioritize them in free agency.
At $1.3 million, we're not talking about money, but yep. He is going to be another veteran minimum, and I am interested because he was one of the first guys we signed last year. One of the first guys, Adam Peters, came in and said, I'll have that guy. I will take that guy. 10 years in the league with the ability on special teams and understands the offense immensely. A guy that we saw our rookie quarterback make multiple throws to space before the cut was made, and those two are on the same page. I dig it. I'm interested.
All right.
Big fan of Jamison Crowder.
I'm all about my baby gets what my baby wants scenario here.
We can put him wherever we want.
No, because just so we're clear, the thank you for your service, guys. They don't make the next round next week when we bring back as we continue forward in the offseason, as we thank people for their service. And that's just us. That doesn't mean the Commanders are making these decisions. We're just playing the home version.
Yeah, of course. I like the home version.
I like this guy. All right. Nick Ballore. Bellore, whatever, however you want to say his name, Nick Papagiorgio, quietly one of our top 2 or 3 best special teamers this season.
Top 2 or 3, certainly top 2.
Top 2, certainly top 2.
Reeves and him. This sicko makes every damn tackle on punt return.
I'm so high as priority.
He's a psychopath.
Can we make him highest priority?
Yes.
All right, thank God.
Why, you need a tackler on specials, and damn it, our specials were so much better this year than they've been in any season I can possibly remember. And this lunatic comes flying down the field making tackles left and right always. Dude, that's specifically a veteran minimum guy we want.
Bellore, Nicholas Papagiorgio, as we like to call him.
He's a special teams coach's dream, and that's why we picked him up. And he can play a little backup middle if you need. He's not going to freaking be great at it, but who gives a shit?
He's like a rich man's David Mayo, and I love David Mayo. I love the poor man's David Mayo, who was in fact David Mayo. But you have to have guys like that in your team, and also if you have. I think that you have to prioritize a couple of guys who are specialists. And Nick proved that he's a specialist this year. He lead the league in special teams tackles, I believe.
He absolutely understands angles. He understands. He's a freak.
Number 57.
He just made every freaking tackle it seemed like on punt.
You could not forget.
Nah, he's
Nick.
cool. He is a cool dude to have on the roster.
All right. Here's a toughie. Now, we've already put one running back on the now he's showing up as interested. That's probably going to be a thing here as we move forward. Chris Rodriguez, he's got a little designation there for, he's got he's like a gremlin with his rules. You can't beat him after midnight. But is he, if we say Jerry McNichols, thank you for your service, and can we also say Chris Rodriguez, thank you for your service at this point?
100,000%. And here's why. Have you seen who the San Francisco 49ers with Adam Peters have stockpiled in their backfield over time? They don't have guys like McNichols and Rodriguez, except for when they had McNichols, till they got rid of him because of who they picked up in the draft. And same goes for Mr. Rodriguez. Heck of a player. Made a few good runs for us this year. I like him, but I'm not sure if he's a perfect fit for us, and I think we're about to go stockpile a couple dudes that are serious guys that tote that rock in this NFL that are not just he just fits the same mold as too many other guys. That's it.
Cornelius Lucas.
I am highest priority. May I go first?
Please.
HP. You don't have a swing tackle in this league that proves himself good enough to actually start half the goddamn snaps in this miracle season at left tackle while trying to bring along a rookie. He was spectacular. He can move inside. He can move to the right. And he has been such a great addition for us. And a guy, once again, tremendous value. We're not talking on that. Fine. Got to have that guy. He is so valuable to everything that we do and has been for years. This guy's been a treasure, and I love him. Sorry, I got a little excited about Big Corny.
We're going to put him in the highest priority right now because our offensive line is still a work in progress, and you got to have guys like him on there.
An elite backup. An elite backup is what he is, who can step in and fill in at tackle any damn time. Those guys do not grow on trees in this league and don't play for sub-3. That just doesn't happen. Horny for corny. Make the t-shirts, Ken.
For corny.
I'm horny for corny. Just print it out. Do what you got to do.
Wait, is that a comment? I need to put that in, or did you come up with that? He's corny. Well,
corny is his nickname.
Yep, he is horny.
And I just got a little moist over here.
All right, there's some moistness. Moistness is the essence of beauty.
Oh gosh, I haven't said moist on this show in 7 years.
Noah Brown, I'm at least interested. I know we already have 2 wide receivers that we're interested in. This isn't, again, I'm not ready to close the door on Noah Brown. He came in out of nowhere and showed himself to be a true pro, did exactly what they wanted. And of all, the biggest reason why I can't thank him for his service at this point in time is because
that would be absolutely ridiculous because he's the second best producing receiver on the roster this season.
Jaden Daniels seemed to like throwing to him.
Listen, you're a big Diami fan. You jumped all over me last week. You and Red had a bunch of Diami stuff going on.
I would never.
Diami. In the 11 games that Diami Brown and Noah Brown played, that they were both active and healthy. Your boy Diami wasn't even the best Brown on the roster.
Understand.
He had
Understood.
half the catches for 1/3 the yards in the same time.
I'm not
So
taking
I
anything
am
away from
certainly-
Jaden. Never taking anything away from Jaden.
Jaden.
I'm saying no. Jaden loved throwing to him.
Jaden Noah produced at a level that was absolutely at 1.3 million relentless to have. Badass, and he caught the Hail Mary. I think he's a high priority. And I think our receiver room needs one big super stud. And then we bring these other guys back that had such a good gig. But Noah Brown produced at such a high rate.
All right, we're gonna with Jaden.
I like it. Honestly, I don't mean
means...
as number 2. High priority is our 3-4 guy right there with Olamide and Jameson as our 5-6. With a dude coming in with Terry, and I think that receiver room looks absolutely spectacular. Luke McCaffrey is the 6th guy, and
that's the beautiful part about this. So I'm gonna fight for De'Ami Brown to be in the interested category,
and and you've earned that right. He's earned that right. I'm gonna thank you for your service, but more if you're an interested guy, I'm leaning more towards interested than thank you for your service.
We're not gonna high priority De'Ami Brown.
I don't think we can.
No,
but I'm not gonna say that. Thank you for your service. He had some damn good games for us this year, and like I said, guys that produce, and he had a game. I think if he doesn't produce to his level, we don't win. And with 4 wins previous, I'm going to have a hard time just waving him down the road.
But the problem, the problem for us,
it depends on what happens with the other veterans, or how many of these guys we do keep. If we keep 2 or 3 of them, is what the deal is.
The wide receiver free agent class is so weak. This is a good opportunity to say everyone is lamenting this free agent class. Everyone's talking about its glaring deficiencies. It's questionable Ronnie Stanley's. It's
good
T. Higgins and then nobody else, and it's no the defensive players aren't to be found. That is good because that's where guys like Adam Peters thrive. You know what I mean?
I agree.
If there's a flashy object, we already did that for 20 years. We already did the flashy object, pay as much money as it takes. We've had the money and we've spent it foolishly. So our guy is capable of finding the guys who fit us. So I'm not worried about, but the wide receiver thing is real. If you look at it, there's T. Higgins, and then there's this whole second class, this middle class wide receivers. De'Ami Brown did enough to probably elevate him in that group. Now that doesn't make him any great or anything. I'm interested, but I'm not interested in. I'm interested in him getting his money, and I think it's going to end up being somewhere else. But we'll find out.
We'll find out because Noah Brown and him made the same amount of money last year. Yep. So I'm very interested to see how people think about it. And De'Ami has more speed and is younger and has more speed. And this is a league of speed, and we all know that.
Sheldon Day. I think I'm interested in Sheldon Day for one reason. Our defensive coaches, the week that we cut Fedarian Mathis, I believe it was, or like a couple of days before. Now, this could have been like, hey guys, we're cutting Fedarian Mathis, so start talking up Sheldon Day as much as you can, to the press.
No. They spell with a PH. Stop being a dick.
Just do it. Listen,
Phil. Some call him Phil.
There's 24 free agents.
Phil didn't Phil. Enough.
I'm not kicking this guy out of bed just quite yet for eating crackers. I'm interested in big defensive.
I guess here's why we don't have many guys left. We have 3. We got 3 of them. 3 of them. We have 3 signed players, of which Allen's one of them, who we have some trepidation about whether or not he will be back.
Yeah.
Deron Payne seems kind of like a weird dude who we like. And then Johnny Newton is the future. So who the fudge else do we got? You got to if you put Michael Davis anywhere near interested, I would.
No. Everyone's getting flipped out to the middle. So I'm going to have to move.
I get it.
I'm going to move De'Ami Brown down and move Sheldon Day Brown. Let's make a space.
Sheldon Day, you got your Sheldon Day there at interested. That's fine. It's interest.
But again, I do that because I feel good about our thank you for your service list so far. I think hey, listen, we're like Scrooge McDuck swimming in our pool of money, and we're not letting them in the pool. Sheldon Day is going to ultimately probably end up in that pool at some point, but for the moment, our defense, again, we were the worst defense in the league against the run. I'm not saying Sheldon Day is not the answer to any of that, but
Sheldon Day, get in there, sir. They've run it 9 times for touchdowns.
Let's go.
Sheldon who?
let's just automatically throw Tress
Highest,
here.
highest of the highest.
He
and everyone knows why.
Stud.
Come on, 35 years old. He's got another 5 years in him. Who gives a shit?
Marcus Mariota, I think he's a high priority.
Highest. I honestly can't I can't even quantify what I think he meant to this year. $6 million is what we paid him, and he was worth every penny.
Kaz Allen, thank you for your service.
Yeah, don't give two Kaz Myers about that guy.
Let's see. There's the last 4. So this is 20 guys, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 dudes. 21 dudes.
Can I just say one thing?
Please.
Michael Davis is the reason why we all know that Adam Peters and company are human, which is good to know.
Yeah.
Because he was not a good football player. I'm not sure. And I think Dan Quinn knew that.
He looked like the public defender in My Cousin Vinny, when it's like, you think you're going to get it, and all of a sudden he goes to do his opening argument. And he's like, ladies in the, and you're like, dude, wait, what's going on out there?
He looked like he was hanging with all of his suits somewhere in San Diego for the last 10 years. And he hadn't loosened up quite yet. He needed some swing oil, a little Tin Man scenario.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Derek Forrest, Dafoe. I like him.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's on his way back here.
No.
We're going to say thank you for your service, sir.
Great special teams guys in other colors besides the burgundy and gold.
I think he plays. So far, I think Farrell, St. Just, and Forrest are locks to be in the league next year. I'm not too high on Davis. You never know about
McNichols.
I think McNichols
he put some serious tape together this year.
Yes, he did.
In an open offense, he is going to be a great guy to have on the roster in the room. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he could be a second max. Oof.
All right, John Bates. Here's the issue with John Bates. Our tight end room. This is a recurring theme. Our tight end room is going to look a little different next year because, damn it better. Especially if Zach Ertz comes back. Sinnett's not going anywhere because he's under contract. John Bates is a banger blocker, and he can catch the ball when you don't otherwise expect it.
You don't expect it. Yes. Yeah, a lot of guys are good at that. Terry Orr. Remember Terry Orr?
I do.
Yeah, no one thought he was going to catch it.
Ron Middleton.
No one thought he was going to catch it.
No one ever thought he was going to catch anything.
But here's the deal. If you don't think you're going to catch it, you're probably not a high priority. I am interested.
All right, we'll keep him on the interested list.
For now. I don't want to just burn him because he's a tough son bitch.
He is.
And in the run game, we need a guy like that. You don't want to just be cutting guys when we're trying to build a run game. But
Michael Dieter.
See you, Dieter, brother. It was a nice run.
Good job.
It was a good 1 year.
Good
fill
job,
in.
buddy.
We'll get a guy to do what you did this year.
And the last guy who is a free agent that we're including in our week 1 segment of just the most important buckets you've ever seen in your life is none other than touchdown extraordinaire Trent Scott. I'm not ready to say goodbye to Trent Scott. I'll at least be interested in him. Our offensive line needs help. I don't think Trent Scott's the answer. I don't think Trent
Scott's a hell of a backup, Ken.
No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. Like this last year we said, and we'll come back to this. Last year we said we had to have 3 new starters if our offensive line was going to be serious about being better, and that's what we did.
Yeah,
we actually did that. Cosme stayed and Wiley stayed. We need at least 1 new starting offensive lineman, and that's, by the way, that is so awesome.
No doubt.
That is so awesome. Last year we needed 60% of fresh offensive line. That's a lot of. That's like 900 pounds of freshness that doesn't grow on. I don't know what it doesn't grow on, but it doesn't grow on anything that we've been able to pick lately.
I'm not sure where 900 pounds of freshness grows either, but I know this.
We need a one banger starter. I mean, to make our line better.
I agree. 1,000%. I agree.
I mean, and that is assuming that Cosme is ready to rock and continue his career.
7 months. I'm not saying he's going to be ready to rock in August, But I will tell you,
because it might be 2.
come September, October, Cosme will be okay. But that doesn't mean that we don't need to get a guy because you don't just start the season hoping that your best O lineman's back. You have to make sure. And what I would love to see is a young buck drafted to get all those reps that he's losing, get him sped up with a guy like him overlooking him. So when he's ready to come back and take that spot, that young buck also has some experience. It can be a great thing.
This is where you
when
make
you have a
your
locker
money.
room with culture.
You have a locker room with culture, but this is also where Adam Peters makes his money. I mean, think about the names. I'm thinking Josh Laribus in the back of my head. I'm thinking like these like 3rd to 5th round offensive linemen that we drafted that generally
I've never fucking thought about Josh Laribus.
That generally speaking did not work out for us.
Very fair.
Did not work out for us.
I did not think Laribus was
but
going
he was
to.
a 3rd, right? No, of
I
course.
know,
He was a 3rd rounder, but
sloppy Cajun
but we
white
drafted
boy
him to
with
start.
mayonnaise all over himself.
We need a guy.
I didn't think it was going to work great.
We need to pick a guy in the 3rd round in that Josh Laribus spot that can contribute to our roster.
Josh Laribus.
By the way, before
Trent Scott can play both guard positions and both tackle positions and caught Jaden Dillon's first fucking touchdown pass.
I understand.
Let's keep him around. He's a backup guy that can rotate. Honestly, him and Corny are so versatile as backups that those are the 2 guys I think we have got to have back. Chris Paul might be the guy that goes. Not because he's a free agent, because he's expendable-ish when we get some talent moving up and some influx of draft capital, and we know we're going to get some young monster guys to develop at that spot. So I think that having Trent Scott around, I think it's pretty important. I just think, when we lose Cosme, Trent Scott fills in. We did pretty damn good offensively with him for the last 2 weeks, so I dig him.
That makes Trent Scott a highest priority, if that's the case.
I believe he is, honestly. But, I mean, that doesn't mean anyone has to agree with me. I think that his versatility.
Ooh,
I know, my vitality. It was my vitality that got in the way.
All right, well, I'm just saying, your versatility is I can see it. It's showing.
My Mariota's hanging out. I apologize.
So I like this. So we said goodbye to 8 guys of our 24, 25 names. That's pretty strong. I'm impressed with us because it's hard. That's
the best 8 guys we've released in 100 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not released, let go.
Yeah,
not re-signed. Besides Michael Davis,
us class of '94 guys.
Michael Davis, you could have played for us so many years.
It's so hard to say goodbye. We learned that from our guys back in the early '90s. They're gone. In terms of this exercise, we'll bring this back next week, and we're gonna expand it just to the highest priority in the interested guys, and we're gonna start weaving that in. Next week, we'll have a little bit of market valuation going on. If we do it next week, we might do it the week after the Super Bowl. We'll see how it goes. But what I would like to do is put a little bit of a market valuation on these guys, compare it with the space that we have, and start looking at how we might want to spend our money.
Ooh.
How we might want to spend our money. Now, and I don't expect our decisions to match up with Adam Peters because he's handsome and we are not handsome. Just saying, it's a fact. It reminds me of when I say Adam Peters. I forget what there was a bartender, and he was like, "Hey," I ran into him over at Stella, and he was like, "Hey, you know Kevin Ricca?" And I was like, "Do I know Kevin Ricca? I rub my junk on him every Tuesday night." I, of course, know that guy.
It's gonna be bad for my rep.
It is.
So what did he say?
I say it too loud. He was like, "Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy."
I rub my junk on him too.
That checks out.
No, junk. That's terrible.
We'll start folding in. Since we did we're not doing draft shows just quite yet. And why would we? Free agency takes place first. And the coming out of the season, now that it's officially over, just 100,000 foot level. We went from picking 2 overall to picking 28, 29 overall.
I know.
It's crazy. That's going to be our greatest draft show ever. You realize how far into
drunk
the party
we're going to be?
By the time we pick in the first round.
And with the 29th selection of the draft, it's Jameson 18 to the Washington Football Redskins.
Thank you. Live from Green Bay.
It is in Green Bay.
It is in Green Bay this year. Which is cool.
It's super cool. I mean, I don't want to go, but it's so cool.
Mm-hmm. That's actually one I would go to. The only reason why I wouldn't is because unfortunately, the NFL can't do anything that's not like crazy corporate and terrible. So they'll like turn Green Bay into like the worst part of it.
See,
You know
this
what I
is
mean?
what, all right. Let me just say, when you just said that sentence, I just have to say one sentence because it's been striking my nerve all night long. I need your help. I'm reaching out to us as a team, you as well, T-Bird. Like when people say T, Strachan, I think of always, but this offseason they say T Higgins, like hundreds of millions of dollars and blah, blah, and it's tantalizing. And I'm horrified by the prospect of giving anyone besides 5 and 17 who needs to be restructured.
Yeah, they'll give him more money.
I know, of course. But, like, I just need you guys to help me because I don't know that T. Higgins wouldn't be the perfect addition because I haven't even looked into that because I'm so shell-shocked by the last 25 years. I have to work through it. I understand that good guys need to get paid, but, like, I just don't want to start I'm so nervous about these big contracts.
And he has hamstrings and calves and
I just can't even.
hips.
But he could
pointers.
be perfect. He could be effing perfect. But I'm gonna rail against big contracts because I'm a little broken inside and I need therapy. And I just want you guys to help me work through it or tell me like I agree. I'm nervous about this. Giving T. Higgins 170 million and Terry McLaurin 140 and being like, what the heck? Like that, like shit like that is about to be a possibility. And I just don't think I'm ready. I'm not ready for that yet. That's all. When you said that, it struck me.
I mean, he's 26 years old.
If we get him, I'm going to be so excited and nervous and excited. I think he's a bad son of a bitch. He's a bad man, dude.
The night we did
he could be someone's number one.
That 2020 draft, I wanted him. I was outspoken about it. I loved him out of Clemson. I loved Clemson wide receivers from that era. The Watkins and they basically they were throwing out number one studs on the regular. The thing about we drafted the bottom of the first round. That's how we got here, and
exactly.
And you think like, okay, so what can you get? How do you make your team better? Like we're excited about the fact that the right guy's making that pick. We're gonna get a top 30 player out, in the draft. So that guy should be able to start for us right away and for a while. We just played the best offensive line that I've seen all season, and so I can't help but think like if like the way you invest in Jaden Daniels is by putting guys in front of him.
Yes,
but here's where my brain took me from that thought because I think I think that at the bottom of the first round you have your 7th or 8th best left tackle prospect, but you start to have your best right tackle prospect, or I'm sorry, you start to have your best college left tackles who are going to be moved over to the right. Of course. And they're going to start right away.
The T-Rex badasses
the short arms
that don't have that long wingspan.
But like John Jansen was a 2nd rounder, but like guys like that who you can pencil them in for 5 to 7 years on your starting offensive line, and you're going to be excited about it. From these Iowa, Michigan, Alabama, these big dudes. But this is where I came up with a different thought, and that is this: Jaden Daniels was exceptional when he got blitzed this year. He was the best quarterback in the league.
It's shocking and remarkable, but it's true.
He was
nasty.
He didn't respond to blitzing the way they was hoping.
Ask Detroit about Jaden Daniels versus the blitz. Ask Detroit. The one seed got toasted at home.
So I think, now again, I'm not as smart as Adam Peters, but in my mind, I think to myself, nobody in the league was better against the blitz as a quarterback than our guy. And so maybe, potentially, the way you make Jaden Daniels better and invest in him is with a skill position player at receiving tight end, a super athletic wide receiver or running back.
I'm not saying I disagree at all.
I'm like torn because I want the offensive lineman. I know, and which then
we got to get the O lineman at some level.
Some level,
somewhere.
either free agency or the draft, of course.
Whatever, however they want to go about that. That's fine. We just got Coleman in the 3rd. You know what I mean?
And
Coleman in the 3rd, and he started and did pretty decent.
And they'll move him to right if they get a guy who can play left. And they'll play. No one's roped into anything.
And here's the coolest
They're
part
going
of
to add
everything.
talent.
It's obvious, correct, that Terry McLaurin is getting re-signed
Obvious.
this offseason. We're
Obvious.
not going to let him go into a
He's not
contract.
being a lame duck.
He's not going to play a lame duck contract. So once we restructure that contract, not only we have the third most money next year, but when Terry McLaurin's 25.5 cap figure gets restructured.
Yep.
And I was trying to use a different word. Restructured. That 25.5 is going to come way down. There is no way they're going to front load a Terry McLaurin restructure, which is going to give us so much more money.
It's correct.
Which is kind of bonkers when you think about, should we pair him up with another dude out wide?
Well, that's
double jeopardy with Jaden Daniels.
That's what you get.
A fucking nightmare
but,
for any DC.
If you sign T. Higgins, if you re-signed Terry McLaurin and sign T. Higgins this year, you are automatically creating an insane salary cap scenario for the next 3 years on both of those deals. Now you're gonna have some choices to make in some hard, August late training camp situations in 4 or 5 years. But I just want to keep saying it because I don't know if you're hearing this from anyone else than us. The window for a rookie quarterback is not his rookie contract. It's not. It's 3 or 4 years beyond that. If you get the right guy and he's your guy and you sign him, it's always a benefit to the franchise on a long-term basis. So if Jaden Daniels stays healthy and he plays the way we know he's capable of playing, he's going to re-sign a monster deal to stay here. And the first 2-3 years of that deal are going to be crazy team-friendly. And then they're going to restructure him. Like, you're never hamstrung by having a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the league and paying market value for him.
No, that's why it's set up this way.
Yeah.
But also, it's not set up to have a dude outplay his rookie contract the way this guy's already shown everyone he's about to. So this is where
and they can't rip it up.
So this
the rules prevent you. You can't change it.
The pace of the recalibration. It certainly changes the effing pace. Going to the Final Four changes the effing pace, doesn't it?
It changes. There's definitely more urgency than you would have expected because nobody can possibly expect a player to be as good as Jaden Daniels. So right away you see what you have and you start to think about that 2, 3, 4, 5 year window. It's not a rookie contract window. I'm sorry. I mean, I know. Listen, if you sign a really good quarterback, really good one. And like a Jared Goff, if you have Jared Goff and you're like, man, this guy can spin it. He makes the right decisions. He's a great guy. They got dared into that extension. They paid him out the ass, and they had to be corrected. Jaden Daniels is not Jared Goff. So as long as you have guys
he's better.
Oh, he's so better. And so so you're never hamstrung.
It's the best.
When you have that.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm just knowing that every decision made by men thousands times more smarter than I am, but they have to understand how we feel, who we are, and we're allowed to have these thoughts.
Yeah.
We've gone through 20. They don't have. I cannot sit there. I can't afford therapy for my Redskins fanship. What I need is Adam Peters to continue this outpatient therapy that he's given us all with Josh Allen. And DQ and Kingsbury and Witt and the whole staff. This is outpatient therapy. This is what we've needed. This is so cool that we're about to do something to elevate to the next level. And I do believe T. Higgins, if healthy-ish throughout the course of the next 4 years, would be a monster. Yep. But I kind of want to get one of Jaden's homies. Can't we just trade for a homie? We'll talk about that in the future.
And also,
can we trade for a Jaden homie?
Like Malik.
Oh,
the Giants aren't trading.
I don't mean this year.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's going to be, you know how many homies Jaden has?
He has homies.
It doesn't have to be just
but also he has wannabe homies.
Right.
All those
That's
guys, they just want to play.
By the way, I'm not saying it has to be from the streets of growing up, from ASU, from LSU. No, dude,
I want to play with him.
He is the coolest cat in the league. Like everyone's like, this guy's just cool. Like forget about on the field shit where he dominates, especially. This is a guy that you want to just be around. Come on.
So I can't get over the and I would while we're gonna live check myself, but Ronnie Stanley, let's see. We got his contract right here. Ronnie Stanley, the tackle for the Baltimore Ravens. He is 30 years old now. He'll be 31 next year. In a voided year, he'll be an unrestricted free agent. This year, his cap hit was 17 million. He's banged up and he is battered. But he is the kind of player who, I mean, that by the way, that if he was paid $17 million last year, because he was playing on a 1-year deal. Is he a guy that you care about? Is he? I feel like he's a guy that could potentially play for us.
I care about anybody that started for the Ravens in front of Lamar and understands that. No, but
That's what I'm saying.
To be fair, it's a totally different concept. When you know there's a guy back there, you can't just lock someone up, Ken.
Well-
and then in a play action pass scenario, we know this guy might be running around. You get called for a blatant hold. It's a different style of
ineligible
ball.
man
It is a
downfield.
different style of ball when you have a superhuman behind you, not just a guy that can spin it.
Yep.
A superhuman guy who can also spin it. And that guy's done that, and I appreciate that.
Yep.
Like I would take any defender from the Ravens to play against anyone because of how I feel about the mobile quarterback in this NFL, especially at playoff time.
Yep.
I don't think we have enough guys defensively right now to counter that. Thank God we didn't have to go up against a bunch of mobile quarterbacks, but we didn't do great against them, and we wouldn't have at any point this year because we need some more werewolves on D.
I see the I think because so like the beauty of a guy like Ronnie Stanley, who again is an imperfect free agent, because he's old and he's been injured a lot, and that shows. I mean, obviously he's a great left tackle, but he was playing on a 1-year deal for a reason with the Baltimore Ravens.
We're good at 1 year.
We're so good at 1 years. So that's like kind of the beauty. So we have all this salary cap space for the next 3 or 4 years because no one we have like nobody under contract out that far. Except for Jaden, but like
The only two we need to do if we were gonna are Terry and Allen.
Terry and Allen.
That's it.
Yeah, that's all.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
No
And
lame duck contracts on this roster this year.
So a guy like Ronnie Stanley could be an interesting target for us because Baltimore has a lot of players they got to pay because they've been good for a long time. They've already been going year to year, and the thing about like so we know something about like generationally great left tackles. Their gas tank holds more gallons of gas than most other people.
I love that I did this research years ago. Trent Williams has shown everyone.
Yes, he has shown
almost
everyone.
It's 39-40. Some go to 42.
Yep.
Couple. What's his name with the Rams? Was a monster.
Whitworth.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they just got a little
Walter Jones.
Oh, guys like that. Tony. Little extra in the tank.
Yeah.
The freak athlete.
That's right.
That just didn't pound and pound.
Yep.
Orlando Pace. Yeah, these guys, there's a bunch of them.
Tony Baselli.
There's a bunch of guys. And Baselli was into his 35, 36. Then he had a degenerative knee, and he got out. And then, because he had the head stuff too.
Yep.
But, hell yes. But I would like to get a dude. And I don't care if we want to go get one in the third. Listen, we got 7 picks again.
We got to bring somebody in. We got to bring some freshness.
We got no 4th. We got no 6th. We got 3 7s.
Yep.
That's where we're at. And just so we all are clear, let's not be excited about how high we're picking in any round because 3 of the damn picks we're picking with that we've traded and gotten back are from Philly.
Yes.
That shit ain't happened.
Yeah,
that ain't helping. I think we got one New Orleans pick. So in one round that we pick in, whatever the New Orleans pick is, we pick a little higher. The rest is going to be in the bottom 4.
Yep. So
that's what happens when 2 teams make the Final Four that trade Jahan Dotson to each other.
And
what a turd that guy turned out to be.
And that's fine.
I'm still happy about that.
I love our guy making those picks. But so that's another, probably another feather in the cap of Ronnie Stanley. The thing about Ronnie Stanley, and I will.
Are you still Ronnie Stanley? Eh?
I am still
Fill
Ronnie
your
Stanley.
Stanley up with water right now before you go to school.
I need to fill
Where's
it.
your lunchbox? This is
it's
typical.
Mostly vodka lemonade.
Fair.
I think that guys like him have such a great reputation in the league that they play wherever they want. If he wants to play, he might be like a Bobby Wagner. He might be like, if he's going to play, he's going to stay in Baltimore, and Baltimore's going to keep giving him more years. I mean, we can't compete with that.
How about Jaden gets a guy that he can play with for the next, I don't know,
at least 5.
At least.
So we got to draft somebody, but like the beauty of Ronnie Stanley is, he has the I don't know, the standing in the league. He can go where he wants. Those guys did not come here forever. This offseason, guys like him, it might not be him, But guys like him, like a T. Higgins, the guys who are going to get their money from whoever, like whatever the market is on Ronnie Stanley, he's going to get it. Whatever the market is on T. Higgins, he's going to get it. So whenever the market is on players, they can get it wherever they can go wherever they want. They're gonna want to come here for the first time in 25 years.
But how about this? It's not the people. It's not the the Antonio Browns that want to come.
Yep.
There is so many real human beings in this National Football League that's are from great families of free agents that are like, you should go play with that Jaden Daniels. He seems like the greatest. Mom and dad are telling him. Wife is saying like, oh, this seems like a great call. What a cool play. Everyone seems so like DC. Like what we've done, what he's done, what Josh, what everyone's done from top to bottom. We are now. It's not just because of football, is what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
When you see this guy out there, laughing it up, chopping it up, interacting, praying on the field for injured players with teams you're playing against on the other sidelines, and no one from our neck of the woods is screaming at him, he's different.
Yep.
Because when he first did it, I was like, oh my God, everyone's going to blah, blah, blah. But he's so good, he transcends. He's above all that.
He's crazy.
He's above all that petty criticism due to his ability to play the game and carry himself. Yes.
And at the bottom of the first round, I think you'll find somebody. Okay. I think the right general manager, which we hope Adam Peters is, will pick a guy at 29th overall, who can play for your team right away on the offensive line.
He did it this year in the third round.
That prevents you from spending the money on Ronnie Stanley and gives you the luxury of spending it on T. Higgins.
Right.
For example.
Especially when that free agent money is in that receiver room is diminished from 25-5 to whatever they negotiate it down to make everything work. That's what the cool part is.
Yeah.
We can back end anything with Terry McLaurin. We all know who's going to be here for the last 6 years.
Yep.
We knew he'd be here for hopefully 100.
We're going to trot him out for his Henry Eller
Why
years.
wouldn't we? Why the hell wouldn't we?
Yeah. Oh, he is, and he's not a guy. He's a guy who, especially, by the way, what year is Terry McLaurin in? His fifth year?
He played 6 years, I believe.
This is his sixth year.
This will be his seventh.
Coming up.
Yes.
And so that's right at your kind of average career length of a wide receiver. We would agree that he's going to exceed that average career length. But how about a guy like him hanging in there, being productive for his first 6 years, and then getting a Jaden Daniels? And then
getting 16 touchdowns.
And then getting 16 touchdowns, and then getting a new deal to potentially close out your career. Because I think the next Terry McLaurin deal, so of all the guys, way more so than Jonathan Allen, of all the guys that Adam Peters is like, who can you could really reward a guy with a team friendly player friend, like you could literally give him a $100 million guaranteed check and say, play 5 years for $20 million contract and give him the check for $100 million. Like that's the kind of thing you can do in today's NFL. I don't know if that number exactly works out. But ultimately you can make that a 7-year deal. You know what I mean? Like you could literally give him, you could look at this guy and say, man, he's going to play for us as long as he can show up every morning. And therefore we will set our team up. Not only do we have a rookie quarterback contract, but we have a guy who gets it in the wide receiver room. Like this, I think in most years and in most teams, the Terry McLaurin re-up is
Can
like a 3 or 4 year deal.
Can we negotiate a monument for him?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think instead of like the 3 or 4 year deal that guys like him in the league usually get at this point in their career, I think this is the kind of opportunity to say, what do you think about a 7-year deal where we can spread some money out? Give you, basically say you're going to end your career here, and he starts to understand that like the way it works, and which guys like him do. You finish your career in a place like this, you don't take your wallet out for the rest of your life. You become a coach, you become a fixture. He is a monument guy.
You get a monument.
You get a monument.
You get a monument because he deserves it.
He deserves it. It's going to be a cool off season. It is officially started.
The best off season.
We're going to
and forever.
We're calling it. You might be surprised. We're calling it off season on the brink again for the however many at the time, because we believe once again,
eventually it'll be a good brink.
that this brink is the brinkiest of them all. In the most possible brinky way. Off season on the brink begins. Wait, is Greg in charge of telling us if the off season technically begins after the Super Bowl, or I think for us it begins next week, don't you?
Until next week, it's the muff season. He just wrote that.
He did?
Well,
okay.
He wrote muff season while you were
all right.
talking. So that's how I took it.
Off season on the brink begins the Tuesday after the Super Bowl.
Off season on the muff by J-Dubs. I mean, it seems like the book that we will write someday.
Off season.
Someday there will be a book.
There'll be an expose.
Yeah, off season on the muff.
Behind the muff.
Yeah.
VH1 special.
The Meringolo basement.
I rode my junk on that guy
every
week.
T. Forward by T. He witnessed the junk being rubbed. It was terrible. The bruising.
Blink twice if the muff is holding you hostage. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate you guys giving us your time on a Tuesday night. I understand it's not as easy.
That's a lot of time tonight.
When we are
so much time.
So much time. I mean, it's a fun team to talk about. We don't have to manufacture anything, and it's moving at the proper pace. There's no awkward pauses. We are Cliff Kingsbury's staying. Lance Newmark is staying. The
Muff is staying.
The
Muff has staying power on this show.
Behind the
I should have thought about that.
Behind the Muff. We're gonna do it. Until next week, he's Tim Strachan. He's Kevin Ricca.
Guys, that was an awesome season to go through with you guys, with yourself, T-Bird. Hell yeah. No, it's just everything that we've ever talked about, everything that we've ever done together came to the highest level, and we hit the apex of what we couldn't possibly imagine. So let's have a hell of an off season, and let's dispel this sophomore jinx with just good, clean, fair play, tremendous human beings involved, and positive energy.
Positive energy.
It's just let's just go about our off-season days the way Jaden would, like remarkably positive, and then just get that. We can get that one thing, the HD thing for life. If he could tell me how to do that for life, I'd be like, oh, how do you get through your day? Like zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh God.
Wait.
I'm now prepared.
Manner of speaking, you said Hard Knocks. Get it? I think since we made the playoffs, we don't have to do Hard Knocks. I don't think.
Well, that's fine. And Hard Knocks we knew would be horrible for us, but now
it might be good.
Well, all it would be is they'd be like, oh, Jaden and Terry, and those two guys can handle it because there's nothing they can't handle.
There's nothing they can't handle.
It's the greatest sport in the world. You get two guys like that with Bobby Wagner on the defensive side.
So here's the deal.
Everyone just follows suit, and everyone feels like we're all part of something.
We don't. Okay, so nobody wants to do Hard Knocks because why should they?
No,
nobody
we don't
want
that shit. No,
but
no.
This is where the NFL comes to Josh Harris and they say, here's the deal. You do Hard Knocks.
They're going to get him at some point.
Give us Jaden Daniels for primetime programming, and here's what we're going to do for you. We're going to give you a Super Bowl in your new state. We're going to help you get your new stadium pushed in RFK. We saw that thing come out. I think, okay, so I continue to hear rumblings that the name is going to change, and I don't understand. I know, dude. Like it has been the last. We haven't talked about it in months because we shouldn't. We shouldn't talk. It hasn't been a priority, but I continue to hear that this name is going to change. I don't know what it's changing to. I know that there's push behind bringing the old logos back. But the word on the street is they're going to change the name.
There's only one thing I've been worried about that I don't want to talk about this whole entire offseason.
Another name change?
No. Yeah. Some lady wants to change her last name to Daniels because that's the only thing that could tear down this whole entire scenario.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying. I don't want to say it. But the future Mrs. Daniels, calm yourself down for at least a decade.
That's right.
And I'm just saying.
That's
the only thing that could ruin the burgundy and gold.
You know what's so crazy when you say that?
Can you imagine?
No, because
right now,
nobody's
the bun cheeks that are lined up.
Yes. And how many of them have no interest in a guy who's wearing a virtual reality mask 9 hours a day, just like walking around the house at a 1.75 speed?
No. There's many.
Yeah. They'll do
many
it.
women. many.
You know what
Jaden, be smart out there, Mr. Daniels. Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was hilarious, and I didn't understand it at first when I was watching it. I love watching golf, and obviously watching Tiger Woods in our prime was like the coolest Saturday and Sunday, you know, especially when there was no football. I always remember like the Jack Nicklaus's and the Arnold Palmers, like literally that level of person that come on and they'd be like, this guy shouldn't get married. Like, why is this guy even thinking about getting married? Like, what? He is an idiot for even thinking about it. And I'm like, Mom, Dad, like, this is NBC, middle of the day, like prime time on a weekend. They're like saying like he shouldn't get married. Like, why are they saying that? Like, what's going? And now I'm like, Jaden, don't do it. Do not do it. Don't do it.
If you're familiar with the Knights of Columbus,
just don't
keep it all.
You have all the time in the world. I'm just saying, like,
you're
not meeting
Whatever
somebody like we met our
stop.
girlfriends.
No,
he's not meeting people like we met people.
Oh God, no.
He's meeting people in a different situation, and it's not good for. Like, he literally needs to be free.
Oh my God, we need a full bouncer team.
Yes.
We need. Oh my gosh, we need it. Oh gosh,
all of it. And by the way, they tried.
Jaden Daniels Jockstrap Security Force,
dude. We're gonna do this.
We're kidding.
I'm not kidding either, dude. I told you.
We need a detail. Like, who's
when
willing
I
to
was
volunteer?
in 2013, I'm sitting in my desk at work, my day job. I'm just like,
Jesus Christ!
And I get a call, and I'm now on a conference call with Harrison, our friend Harrison, and some unnamed chick who just like leveled
Robert. It was Robert Griffins.
Who was leveling outrageous allegations on my cell phone at work.
Totally.
And I'm sitting there, and God bless Harrison, and I haven't talked to him forever, and he's great. And he was like, "You got to talk to Ken," and I'm like, first of all, I'm like, why am I like literally? I'm like, I'm at work, and I'm now in a conference room for an hour listening to like basically like a long hour-long speech from some woman who's giving me crazy stories about people whose every person's name was a big name, and I'm like, and I'm like, Harrison, I don't want any part of this. I don't even want to be like, I don't ever want to be like remembered as being on this call. Like, oh, Hogs Haven should be like reporting this. I'm like, no, he shouldn't. I'm never reporting any of this.
Different Hogs Haven, Mr. Harrison.
It was a different Hogs Haven. And I know he was disappointed in me because I don't know whether it was true or not. And it's not even about that. I wasn't making any judgments. And he wanted us to be like an expose scenario. And all I was like, she wasn't telling us her real name. It sounded so outrageous. And the whole time, and by the way, I talked to like Jeff Darlington, who at the time I believe was with the
CBS.
He was with NFL. I think he was with NFL Network at the time.
Was everywhere.
He was everywhere, and I'm talking to him. I'm talking to Jason Lockhan Ford. I'm talking to all these guys. And I'm like, guys, like, and then I talked to the NFL.
Ford was like, yeah.
The NFL Players Association guy who was a Redskins fan and a fan of ours. I talked to him and I'm like, dude, what's going on? Like, I am not doing this story. I want to be known for this.
No mas.
And so
no mas. Poor Jaden.
Exactly. And he was like, and Jeff Darlington and it was like, dude, by the way, like the NFL, like they're like security people. They're like former FBI. They're crazy, and that's who the league employs. So
speaking of crazy, outside of Costco, what's the most valuable dong in the United States of America right now?
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So trust me, they are. They're protecting the dong.
We all need to protect the dong.
Got to protect the D. That's what we're doing. That's our high. That's, by the way,
the JD.
That's highest priority. We're not just interested in that.
JD.
That is highest priority. The JDD. The JD.
Come on.
Thank you guys so much.
Takes a village.
Always a couple minutes too long. Let's get it. Yeah. Let's get to some EO.
Yes.
We will be back in 7 days. Super Bowl preview. maybe some Redskins Super Bowl history for all of you guys. We'll throw this down a little bit. A little bit of Redskins Super Bowl history next week. We'll enjoy the postseason, even though we don't necessarily enjoy the matchup that we're getting.
Nah, but
He's
I'll
Kevin
be
Ricca.
honest. I'll be honest. I am Kevin Ricca, and I'm rooting for Andy Reid.
100%.
Yeah.
This basement is pulling for the Chiefs.
The only guy I can
Eagles.
figure out who to root for, and I figured it out. He left Philly. We've all been to Philly and also left Philly, so I got to root for Andy Reid. Plus,
Even
I
after,
like him.
even after he
Plus,
left Philly,
I like him.
he still dumped guys on us.
Yeah. Oh, what a dick.
Alex Smith's weak fibula or tibia, whatever it was.
No, that was a DC November 18th. Joe Theismann, Alex Smith, and
We were at we will
Alex Ovechkin.
and we were at
3 broken legs on November 18th. It's so creepy.
Do
We
not
were
play football
together
that
for our
day.
first time ever for one of them, and we were also together here for the second one. Very strange.
7 days. We are still live.
Still live.
Don't go anywhere. We're
That
gonna
was
go
a
out.
long show.
We're gonna.
I'm a little drunker than typical.
We'll be right back.
We're not going to be right
That's where we stand. That's like a Luke David-esque swipe there as they all come through.
back. That looked great.
That's gonna happen. We're gonna keep building on this. We'll see you guys in 7 days. Oh wait, I can give you one of those. Where are we at? Hold on.